Hello and welcome to my channel, I Win to Lose Gaming. Today, we are here to take a look at Evelyn, our first S-rank fire attack agent who's featured in Zenless Zone Zero. So, Evelyn is the bodyguard of Astra Yao, and today we're going to see how she does as a DPS character and as the attacker that she is. And I also wanted to present a few anecdotal comparisons between Evelyn and Soldier 11, since they are both fire attackers who enjoy attacking during stun windows, to help you all decide whether or not Evelyn is right for your account. This video was filmed on the early access server and is not indicative of the final product. There may be some changes on release, so be sure to check the comments down below to see if there are any. And the first thing that you'll probably notice about her are her animations, and in particular, it's her very wavy jacket. So she's brought over the same manufacturing plant that makes Yelan's jacket into Zenless Zone Zero. And we can see that this jacket is able to hang on for dear life on her shoulders as she's running around. And of course, let's take a look at her menu animations. We can see here that she has, what is she twirling around? Some kind of knife, I believe. She is indeed a fire attacker and the second character who's part of the stars of Lyra, whatever it is. So we can see she is a standard crit scaling character with attack, crit rate, and crit damage. And let me just scoot myself over to this corner while we can take a look at these menu animations. We can see here, oh my goodness. Yes, we can see in particular the equipment. Yeah, I think they're starting to power creep some of the menu animations. So starting off, we'll be using the 4-piece Hormone Punk as well as the 2-piece Inferno Metal. And you'll notice that the Hormone Punk, indeed, right, we're using the Hormone Punk, which honestly isn't really the best set for pretty much anyone, but you know, she's kind of lacking in options when it comes to the drive sets. And we'll see here that we have her signature Wenjin, and we'll actually start with the Marcato Desire, which is the very free-to-play friendly event Wenjin that we all got pretty recently. Now, Evelyn has, no joke, 2 unique currencies as well as 2 unique kind of states is what I'll call them, which leads to kind of a lot of various combinations. But fortunately, when it comes to actual gameplay, it doesn't end up being as complicated as it might sound. So starting off, she has this resource called Burning Embers. And she just gains those by doing, you know, various attacks, like basic attacks. Her EX special and her special will all generate this resource of Burning Embers, where she can, I believe, have 16 total. Now, when you press and hold her basic attack button, she will spend those Burning Embers in order to convert them over into Burning Tethers. So let's go ahead and use this. So we can see here that indeed we spent that with 1 part, 2 part of the hold basic in order to get 2 Burning Tethers. Once you have 3 of these, you can actually do a chain attack. So this is kind of like a baby version of the chain attack in the sense, okay, it still does the same amount of damage as her regular chain attack, but what makes this a bit different is that it does a little bit less like stagger / interrupt the enemy. But that point aside, we can see here that she's going to be a very chain attack focused character, since she can actually perform them on demand by filling up this resource bar. Now, needless to say, of course, if the enemy is stunned, Evelyn can also perform this chain attack, which does a lot of damage as well as has her in this very nice pose. And I'm curious to hear if she has a snapping sound effect on live, because if you know the creator experience server, you'll know that there's no sound or there's a lot of missing sound effects for the game. She also has this bind state where sometimes she will have a kind of string attached to the enemy, and sometimes she won't have this string attached to the enemy. Fortunately, most of the time the string will be attached to the enemy, where a lot of parts of her kit will function as expected. Now, the next thing about her is that she also enjoys kind of using a countering playstyle, where if she manages to use her special in order to counter the enemy, she will gain a lot of additional burning embers, you're going to want to build up these resources before you stun the enemy. So that way you can pull off some big, multiple chain combos against the enemy once they are actually stunned. So let's go ahead and we'll just stun this guy real quick. And we can see that we can go into her chain, and training mode, of course, doesn't have enemies. Okay, I'm completely messing up her combo because I'm yapping here. But training mode doesn't have enemies where you can do 3 chain combos, which kind of makes it, a little bit scuffed when it comes to testing because you have to do it against bosses and actual missions and stuff. But anyway, up next, let's take a look at her ultimate. So her ultimate is super interesting because she actually has, I guess, like technically 2 different ultimates, but they're, basically the exact same. But I love how in the description, usually, it doesn't like include flavor text, but in this one, it actually tells you that she just removes her jacket. So let's go ahead and remove her jacket. There we go. She just tosses it somewhere. And I guess she just gets a new jacket after the fight, or finds her old jacket and picks it up, because I don't know where she's storing it, right? Like, I don't really see any pockets on her outfit or anything like that. And yeah, but now you can use Evelyn jacketless for the rest of the fight. And this state will last for, I literally just said it, for the rest of the fight until, you enter a new fight where she will get her jacket back. And one big difference about this form, in fact, I would say really the only difference about this form. So when you use her chain attack, she will now actually save one of the burning tethers. So that makes it much more efficient, 33% more efficient when it comes to burning tether resource management. So we can also see here, if we do her ultimate again, now she does the armpit pose for you guys. I also forgot to mention a very important part of her kit is her core ability, where if she has the binding seal, which is when she has the string attached to the enemy, Evelyn's crit rate will be increased by 25%. So we can see here that she is indeed at 88% crit rate thanks to that additional crit rate part of her core ability. And finally, why it's important to have a lot of crit rate on her, it's because of her additional ability, where if she's with a stun or support character, her chain and ultimate damage are increased by 30%, but if her crit rate is over 80%, then the damage multiplier for her chain attack and ultimate are increased to 125% of their value. This means that each chain attack deals 2,073.4% damage, and her ultimate has a whopping 4,971.6% damage multiplier. Since she's generally able to output, spoilers, 3 to 5 chains in a stun window, she's able to output around 6,000 to 10,000% of chain attack damage multiplier in a stun window. All right, we're gonna start with this more. Oh, she actually puts on her jacket at the beginning of the fight. I swear she doesn't do that every time, but regardless, we're gonna start with this fairly free-to-play friendly, especially if you manage to lose your 50/50s to Koleda. But let's go ahead and we will just increase the stun right here. So one thing about her playstyle is that generally speaking, you want to build up her resources, both the burning embers as well as the burning tethers, before the boss actually enters the stun state. So that way you'll be able to unload. Okay, hang on. I got to pay attention a bit. This game actually does require you to pay attention, but I noticed that I am way worse at dodging without sound effects, because the sound effects actually make a huge difference when it comes to dodging. So anyway, we can see here that we've fully built her resources here. We can see she's full on burning embers as well as burning tethers. So we can go ahead and get the boss into a stun state here. And I'm actually going to initiate the stun with Lucy. So that way we can go for this chain attack right here. And we can go for the second chain attack, where we can then use Koleda to trigger this. So we can see here that we are indeed doing some kind of fancy-ish combos, I guess, is how I would describe it. But we can see that the Butcher just doesn't have the HP required to, fully showcase her combo. So we didn't have to build up all those resources against the Butcher because, yeah, obviously it just doesn't have enough health to warrant such a response. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and go for the stun. So we're going to go ahead, and this time we're going to use her ultimate to go for this chain. And we'll go for this again. We can see here that I'm doing a manual cancel of her chain attack. So there we go. We're going to do her ultimate this time. And thanks to, so you'll notice that I intentionally didn't use Lucy's buffs because otherwise we wouldn't really be able to show, you know, her combo because she just will kill the enemy too fast. So you see here that I'm messing up her combo as well, but we are indeed able to get off a lot of additional chain attacks in a stun window due to the way that we manage her resources thanks to her jacketless state as well. Now I wanted to show one quick clip of how many chain attacks you can get off in a fight or in a stun window, and this is kind of like the maximum threshold without like a whole bunch of shenanigans, but she can pull off almost 6 chains with Astra Yao in a single stun window. Normally you get about 3 to 4, sometimes 5, depending on if you have like Astra Yao or lighter on the team. But in a situation like this where you can actually extend the enemy's stun window with an impair, we can see here that she pulled off 6 entire chains against this enemy. So yeah, there's a lot of room for kind of optimization, combo game, because here I used a technique where I animation canceled her hold charge attack or whatever. So if you want some skill expression, I think Evelyn is going to be a good character for you. And unfortunately, that does mean that she does lose a decent amount of damage if you don't kind of put in a bit of additional effort for learning the way, you know, learning her combo game. Similar to Harumasa, although I feel like she's a bit more forgiving than Harumasa in my opinion. But yeah, very fun character to use if you are that type of player. So let's take a look at this Evelyn team inside of Shiyu 8.2. This has been, I guess, one of my go-to places lately for testing, especially for physical and fire, you know, showcases. And here we can see, though, that I think for this route, I decided to actually go for a full fill-up of Evelyn because you can have a couple different playstyles when it comes to Evelyn. You can either focus on stunning the enemy faster in order to get more chain attacks off, or you can try to focus on building resources. So in this case, we can see that since we stunned the elite enemy, we just go for a standard 2-chain combo because, well, obviously, you know, against a regular elite enemy, they can only be stunned twice. So, or they can only be chained twice. But anyway, we can see that we've built up all of our resources, as well as now we can go for the stun against our big boy here. And I think I wanted to go for the Lucy stun because that way we have Lucy's buffs up. And right here, it's important to master the manual chain cancel in order for Evelyn to get 2 chain attacks against a boss type enemy. We can see there that that's indeed what I did in order to output this full combo against the boss here. You can see here that it almost single cycled it even with these free to play friendly Wenjins on both Lucy and Koleda, as well as, well, you know, Evelyn herself also has the Mercado Desire, which is the event weapon. So yeah, we can see here a pretty decent performance for a free-to-play Evelyn against the Shiyu 8.2. So of course, what is Evelyn though without her best team? And you guys probably realize that, yeah, her best team is going to be Astra Yao with Evelyn with lighter. Okay, a great start. Great start right there. You can see me getting clobbered, but somehow this still ended up being my fastest run despite the mistake there. So likely due to, you know, lucky mob grouping as well as kind of days build up against both of them instead of just one of them, which ends up making a huge difference. So we can see here that I'm not even bothering building up or trying to focus on building up Evelyn's resources. I just want a single, whatchamacallit, you know, manual chain that I can do because she does so much damage on her optimal team. This is also with signature Wenjins. We can see that first chain, what was that, 485,000 damage, something like that. Either way though, we can see me doing the chain cancel in order to go for the double chain into her ultimate, and forget about the rest of the chain attacks that she can pull off because yeah, it's already dead. It's already dead.
He's dead, Jim.
Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys will have a lot of questions when it comes to what about Soldier 11? How does she compare to Soldier 11? So I did 4 entire runs through the Deadly Assault just to give you guys an idea for, you know, what you can expect. So we can see here that we're starting off with a free-to-play friendly Soldier build. This is Soldier with the Mercado Desire, as well as, I believe, the 4-piece Woodpecker Electro, but we can see that by the end of this, which is wrapping up in about 1 second, Soldier managed to get a score of 25,636. Now this is with lighter as well as Astra Yao with their signature Wenjins. Anyway, we can see here that this is going to be my free-to-play friendly attempt, and I apologize for the poor gameplay and dodging because, you know, I just wanted to get this video out to you guys, so do a quick run with each of these characters. So of course, when it comes to times and comparisons like this, it is all super anecdotal, and you know, obviously the scores can be drastically improved for all the different teams, so please always take it with a giant grain of salt. But either way, we can see here that now for this free-to-play approach, I decided to go for, well, it's not a free-to-play friendly approach. For this, you know, Evelyn with the Mercato Desire with a very similar build to Soldier. I keep saying free-to-play friendly. This is not free-to-play friendly because it has 3 limited S-rank agents as well as both Lighter and Astra Yao on their signature Wenjins. And the reason why I did that is because this way, you know, the only difference between the two teams is Astra Yao versus Soldier, which a lot of people are going to have questions about. So skipping ahead to the next stun cycle, we can see here that again, I built up all of her resources to full for this run because, you know, I figured it's probably worth it for this type of setup. In all honesty, I'm not 100% sure if it is worth the extra field time in order to build it up versus just going for additional stuns on the enemy. Just kind of depends on the situation, right? But we can see here that already this Evelyn with the Mercato Desire in comparison to Soldier is performing much better against Pompey. She definitely does do a lot more noticeable damage when it comes to, well, you know, she is a featured S-rank fire attacker instead of Soldier being kind of the more free-to-play friendly option. But yeah, Evelyn here with the Mercato Desire did output 36,538 points worth of performance against Pompey in this situation. So the next example I have is with Soldier. However, this time Soldier has the Brimstone. Soldier with the Brimstone got 37,343 points. Of course, this is just literally one attempt with each team, so please take it with a giant grain of salt. But we can see here that Evelyn, you know, with a free-to-play Wenjin versus Soldier with her signature Wenjin, I feel like their performance is pretty similar, and from what I've seen and play tested in other areas of the game, they feel pretty similar in that regard. But what if you get Evelyn with her signature Wenjin, in this case the Heartstring Nocturne? Well, now her damage is absolutely massive because that signature Wenjin provides a massive damage boost to her and a massive performance boost to Evelyn. So we can see here that she is just outputting a ton of damage against Pompey. And if we go to the final stun cycle of this fight, we can see here that I also didn't focus on building the resources. Instead, I was focusing on more so just outputting more stun durations and windows. I should actually go back and count how many stun windows there were for this fight. But also another interesting thing is that Astra Yao's ultimate synergizes very well. Astra Yao will give Evelyn those free chain attacks, up to 2 additional chain attacks if you do it correctly. And right here, I missed a defensive assist, which sucks because that is one good way for Evelyn to get that additional chain attack. But we can see that the last chain attack didn't finish, but we can see now that her score with her signature Wenjin is now a massive 49,333. So once you slap in Evelyn plus her signature Wenjin, this is where she really starts to shine and excel. So overall, I think Evelyn is definitely a premium fire attacker that lives up to being a featured S-rank character. If you like what you see here and you need a strong fire DPS character, Evelyn certainly won't disappoint. Now, of course, there's Bernice as well as Soldier 11, and Evelyn definitely competes more directly with Soldier 11, so do keep that in mind. Still, she's an incredibly fun character with a dynamic and fun combo game where you're rewarded for learning and optimizing her playstyle. She's overall a mid-difficulty character to use in my opinion, but is also easier to use than a character like Harumasa, again in my opinion. Anyway, let me know what you think about Evelyn down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Went to Lose, signing out.